Hi there, and thank you for joining me for today's live reading of Underboss's Retaliation by Via Marie. And this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Chapter 1. This is what happens when you fuck with one of us, or in this case, our entire family. When you and your family plan a bloodbath geared at wiping out the notorious Larussio's Italian crime family, we will make you sorry the thought ever crossed your mind. De Rosa, his wife, and their three sons glare at the invading Larussios, hands tied behind their backs so tight that they can barely shift in the dining room chairs. Two extra play settings are on the table with no sign of the youngest son or the daughter they treat like a princess. My cousin Salvatore, he sees it too and starts barking commands. I give him a nod, letting him know I've already noticed. We've got this, I tell Matteo and Renzo, nodding to Sergio to join me. He throws me an appreciative look. He may be Salvatore's little brother and always getting into trouble, but he's never going to get experience if he keeps getting shielded. The hallways are full of smoke from the diversion. The blaze may be out, but parts of the house are unstable, and any minute one of us could go through the floorboards. Although that's hardly the gravest danger. I'm more worried about one of the De Rosa soldiers coming to from the blast and catching us by surprise as I make my way through the enemy's house with my youngest cousin in tow. We search room by room, busting through doors, looking under beds and in closets, searching for telltale signs of a secret door, a safe room, or anything of the like. All the crime families have them, created for situations like today. We just need to find it. The last bedroom is full of white French provincial furniture with baby doll yellow colored bedding, and the sweetest scent drifts through the air and invades my nostrils. The room is scattered with dresses and other clothing thrown over the back of a reading chair in the corner, with shoes laid out on the matching ottoman. The room can only belong to Emelia, the princess of the family, the one De Rosa wanted to escape, the one that I am determined to find. The aroma of the perfume gets stronger as I near the closet. I gesture to Sergio to stand clear of the door, readying my Glock as I open it and step into the space. I carefully scan the hardwood floors of the closet for any signs of a trap door before moving clothes on the bar above to examine the walls. The up and down pattern of the paneling is smart, allowing the natural line of the door to blend in with it nicely, almost undetectable unless you know exactly what you're looking for. And I do. I caution Sergio by putting a finger to my mouth and then run it along the natural vertical lines of the paneling, pushing gently before feeling it give slightly under the pressure. The door comes open, and I have my Glock pointed, expecting to find the little De Rosa's princess herself. But there's no one there. It's completely empty. A space meant for refuge, but devoid of a body. Yet the sweet smell of her presence lingers even here. I shine the light of my phone into the darkness and can vaguely make out a long tunnel ahead that slopes downward, an escape route that probably leads to a planned exit in the event of an attack such as the one we orchestrated tonight. Son of a bitch. Let's go, I tell Sergio, stepping beyond the door and into the tunnel, my Glock at the ready. We make our way into the dark space with just the light of my phone to lead the way. Make sure there aren't any other doors along the walls of this place, I tell Sergio. I know how our safe houses are built, and that's exactly how the ones we have are constructed to throw off anyone lucky enough to find our escape route. Each and every one of them have a safe haven, just a little nook to tuck into for a while until the heat has passed, while those who look for you keep heading down the tunnel and come to the end wondering how the fuck you got away. I'm not seeing anything else, Sergio says, but something, the smallest imperfection along the wall, catches my eye. Let me take a look at that, I tell him, scanning the panels closer, looking for any cross lines and the vertical patterns that would hint at a door or even a small opening just big enough to slip into for a while. Sergio goes ahead of me, searching for the same as I continue scrutinizing the patterns in front of me. I'm just about to move on and catch up with Sergio, who's gotten quite a bit farther ahead of me, always impatient with details and ready for action. Sergio! I hiss into the tunnel as he disappears. He doesn't respond. My jaw locks tight, wondering if he will ever be able to stay to do as he's told. Stay on my hip means fucking stay on my hip. I move further into the tunnel, anxious to catch up, when the tiniest of sounds catches my attention, one so faint that I almost didn't hear it. I stop, shining the light of my phone on the wall again until a rectangular pattern appears, so intricately designed that even the most experienced An observant person would have missed it, if not for the sound. I run my fingers along the lines and gently tug while holding my weapon at the ready, right into the face of anyone who is unlucky enough to be on the other side of that door. That light, sexy scent invades my senses as I open the door, the soft feminine quality of the aroma momentarily taking me off guard as a green-eyed she-devil from hell attacks me with claws that gouge deep into my face, barely missing my eyes. I wrestle with the vicious cat, finally grasping her long dark hair, wrapping the silky strands around my hands, keeping her pressed tight against my body to keep her still. That may work with everyone else, but she just keeps right on struggling, and pain sears through my veins as she manages to get in a good hard kick to my kneecap. I grimace through the mind-numbing pain, struggling to bring the wildcat to heel. Finally, I force her hands behind her back and lifting up hard while still hanging onto her hair, all while being cursed in well-spoken Italian. I press the gun to her head. March, I tell her and push her from behind, keeping her hair wound tight as I move her into the dark tunnel toward Sergio, whose ass I plan to kick the minute we catch up to him for not staying where he should. We finally get to the end of the tunnel, where Sergio surely had to come out and should be waiting, but he's not anywhere to be seen. Sergio, I growl, pushing the gate open into the moonlit night and scanning the vast wooded property for signs of him or an awaiting ambush. The hellcat twists violently, trying to free herself from my grip, but I pull the delectable curves of her body close. Stop fighting me, or you're going to end up tied up, and not in a good way, I whisper into the enemy's ear. Sergio is nowhere to be seen, but he knew the risk of separating. If he gets himself into trouble, I'll catch hell for letting him out of my sight when Salvatore finds out. Sergio knows how to fight, and there would be no forgiveness if I found the De Rosa princess and let her go, no matter the reason. A stroke of genuine good fortune that I don't plan to waste regardless of her wriggling opposition. I scoop the dark-haired beauty into my arms, holding her firmly as I make my way through the wooded area, along the property into the driveway. I don't have time to waste if I'm going to be of any help to Salvatore while he deals with old man De Rosa. I've got to get back inside and see if Sergio returned with the missing boy. A couple of our soldiers' cars are behind the black SUV we arrived in. I glance in each window and in the second find exactly what I want. I put her on her feet, hanging onto her hair so she can't run, open the door, and snatch the keys from the ignition. The dark-haired beauty's eyes flash in the moonlight as I walk her toward the trunk and open it. Please let me go. I pick her up, gazing into the jade green eyes of the most beautiful face I've ever seen as she struggles in my arms. Sorry, Wildcat, this is just the beginning for you and me. Chapter 2. The dark, brown, almost black eyes of one of the most notorious men alive stares back at me as I plead for him not to put me in the trunk. Instead of letting me go, he lifts me in one fell swoop. Sorry, Wildcat, this is just the beginning for you and me. Please? I ask, expecting him to look down at me with a smug look, the one that says the Larussios are better than the De Rosas. Instead, he watches me, but his square-cut jaw and chiseled lips don't reveal his emotion. He bends slightly so that he can place me in the trunk. I use the opportunity presented to slam into his face with the force of my head. Dominic Larussio staggers as I kick, trying to get free from the arms of steel, but even with blood pouring from his nose, he's too powerful. Get in there and don't make a sound. Capiche? He growls at me, dropping me with an unceremonious thud before slamming the trunk shut and transporting me into a world of complete darkness. I inhale deep breaths, my head still reeling from the self-inflicted blow, slowly calming myself because I am a De Rosa. There was always a day when this was going to come. A daughter of one of the most brutal crime families in the world is an attractive target for our enemies. I know exactly what I'll be facing when they get me to their lair. I'll be a pawn that will be used and bartered with or sent back by the rivals in small little pieces to deliver a very clear and discerning message for everyone to see. I wait in the darkness of the trunk for a time, thinking any minute the car engine will start, but it doesn't. There are no sounds at all coming from the car or anywhere around it. I swallow, hoping that my brother got far, far away after he hid me in the safe area in the tunnel, and was able to reach the gun supply at the other side of the property. The artillery necessary to save my family is still stuck in what's left of our home with those bastard Larussios. I kick the end of the trunk with all my fury, grimacing as the pain radiates through my heel. I should have let Leo shove me in that holding area I shouldn't have let Leo shove me in that holding area like a sheltered little princess. Even if he thought I would slow him down, I should have demanded that he take me with him, to fight for our family right by his side. And now he's out there all alone, and I'm stuck in here. I kick the end of the trunk again and again and again. We've gone over these drills with my brothers a million times. What to do if you get kidnapped, all of which I tried in hopes of getting the upper hand. The Larussio brood is as strong as he is good looking, all 6 foot of his finely muscled self. There's no way I want to stick around and find out just how brutal he can be. I've heard every one of those rumors. I shallow my breath, taking in smaller amounts of air, running my fingers along the back of the trunk, feeling along the carpeted panel of the older model Chevy. My finger runs across a snap. I tug, bringing the corner of the carpeted panel toward me, first surprised and then intrigued before pulling it harder. The carpeted barrier covers the entire opening between the back seat and where I'm sucking air in the trunk. I feel into the open space behind it and tracing what feels like a large tire, no doubt a spare in the event of an emergency. It's heavy, impossible to budge from my position on the floor. I scrunch down and twist my body so that I can wiggle around and face the other way to pull the rest of the covering down along the back of the trunk. It comes loose, and I smile. My day just got exceptionally better. At least now I have a fighting chance against the handsome bastard who invaded my home and wants to do Lord knows what to me. My fingers close around the tire iron and pulls it through the opening to have at the ready for when he comes back. This time he'll have more than a bloody gouge and busted nose to show for my efforts. I pull the carpeted barrier back even more and feel around, but there's nothing more but empty space. My heart begins to race. I pull it back further and shift my body so that I can get the heavy material past me. Then I push against the end of the trunk as I work my head and hand into the opening, feeling around until I find exactly what I'm looking for. The lever flips up, and I push against the trunk with all my strength as I reach through, stretching to push the back seat forward into a flat position. At long last, it gives. I shimmy through and crawl over the unlatched seat. It locks into place as the weight of my body settles on top of it. The sound of an engine coming to life nearby causes my blood to race with fear that this brief chance of escape may have just been squashed. But the sound of the car peeling out of the driveway causes me to suck in a breath and keep working my way toward freedom even quicker. I stay low, out of the moonlight, then unlock the door and step out onto the driveway with the long silver tire iron in my hand. No one is inside except for the bloody bodies who lie strewn all over the driveway and lawn, no doubt from the orchestrated attack on my family. There's still smoke billowing from the house that I grew up in, a home in absolute ruins. A place memories were made and were intended to be made for many more years to come, a casualty of a war that is far from over. My chest pounds with anger. I scan the front door where they won't for a million years think that a De Rosa, especially the baby girl of the family, would dare to come back and defend her family. They have no idea what I'm capable of or what I'll do to them when I find the bastards. I reach the front door as 2 gunshots fire in rapid succession, causing every muscle in my body to tense. My chest pounds, and I hold back the tears that threaten to flow, fearing that I may be too late to save my family. But a glimmer of hope blooms too. Maybe Leo got to the automatic rifles and found a way to take the Larussio bastards out. But if he did, that's the gunfire sound I would have heard, but didn't. No, these shots didn't come from the autos that he went to retrieve. Whatever the case, I have to know. Need to see for my own eyes what's happened to my family. I race from car to car, staying low with the tire iron tucked to my side, making my way around the driveway, cutting across the lawn toward the back of the house, stepping over bodies of our soldiers on my way to the back door that will lead me through the kitchen, where Mama was when all hell broke loose and Papa yelled for Leo to get the 2 of us to safety. But Leo knew where the guns were and wouldn't let me go. I suck back the boiling emotion that threatens to overwhelm me and press forward, 1 foot in front of the other, because there will be plenty of time for sorrow. Right now, I need to focus on the danger of the bastards who attacked our home. I've almost made it to the back of the house when a low, deep voice calls out a warning. Emelia, get down! My brother yells from a distance as the bullet spray from a fully automatic cuts through the night and paints everything around it in shreds. Don't make this harder than it has to be. A warning from the brutal fucker who shoved me in the trunk of the car and would have done who knows what to me if I hadn't escaped. You're a dead man, Larussio, my brother screams, turning and taking aim at the wooded area just beyond the house. He sprays everything in sight with a thunderous wall of bullets that sends the birds in the trees screeching into the night. A man in the woods yells as he's hit. My heart finally stops pounding with fear. Stay down, my brother yells as he lets another round of bullets fly. But this time the fire is returned, and my brother's body is thrown backward with the brunt of the bullet's force. Leo! I scream, racing across the lawn, tears running down my face as my brother lies bloody and helpless on the ground. I slide to my knees and pull my hoodie off, stuffing it over the wound to stem the flow of blood, helpless to even call 911 without the use of a phone. Dominic's dark voice turns my blood cold. Get up. My father may not want to acknowledge it, but a bloodbath on Larussio property, intended to kill everyone, was probably a grave mistake. I look solemnly at my brother's lifeless body. He has already paid the ultimate price, and I may be the next payment for my father's vengeance on the Larussios.